I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is To Back or Not To Back. This might be the last To Back or Not To Back in a few weeks. We'll see. We are closing up on the end of the year, which means things are finally getting very, very much lighter. In fact, today's video is light. Today's video is very light. We'll have a few things to go over. We'll have timestamps down below. We'll have our usual unfair and unbalanced over on Patreon, all the regular content that we usually have. But it is a lighter video with, maybe 10 campaigns, most of which are not doing tremendously well. Again, this is the end of the year close-up. People have spent all their money on holiday shopping and Black Friday shopping, and we're going to be heading into the new year with fewer campaigns. It's just the way things work. So next week, do not expect to do back or not to back, although make sure to stop by the channel because there'll definitely be something. There's always something. There's always a video here. The question is what that video is a different conversation entirely, and we'll see when to back or not to back resumes. So with that very lengthy start to the video aside, let's start off the bat with our usual Cult of the Now. Cult of the Now is our segment where we go ahead and take a look at a currently available game, hence the word Cult of the Now. It's available now. Sometimes it's Cult of the New, but it's also Cult of the Now. It's available now. It's something you can get your hands on at the moment. Crowdfunding is amazing. I'm a huge fan of it. I talk about it a lot. I back a lot of games. I'm very, very much into it. But at the end of the day, crowdfunding also means a game that's available in a year or 2 years. Also going to cost you shipping and all these other factors. And the reviews are, there's fewer reviews and content available to find out if it's a game for you or not. Cult of the Now is often cheap and available and a little bit less on the premium upgraded side, but very often very affordable. And I like to remind you that you could go ahead and get very many games available at a cheaper price. In this case, we're looking at Astra from Mind Clash Games for $26. Take a look at this and tell me that if you saw this on Kickstarter for $45, you wouldn't be backing it in a second. If you are currently watching this video and this was a Mind Clash game on Kickstarter for $45, you'd be backing in a heartbeat without even second guessing a thing. Again, my point is not to say you shouldn't back games. I back a lot of things. My point is to remind ourselves that sometimes we back things when we possibly should be considering either saving our money or waiting till retail or any of a dozen other things rather than getting it on crowdfunding now. And with that, let's go ahead and start us off with Board Game Adjacent, starting off with Paladin Card Protection Season 7. 700 backers, $66,000 raised. This is coming to you from Board and Dice with their Paladin sleeves. This is just another Season 7 Kickstarter. They run these occasionally. Here are more sleeves. Here are the premium 90 micron sleeve thickness or whatnot. They have a bunch of options for the pledge levels. You can mix and match whatever you want as far as specific sizes, although they do have some costs that are, some sleeve sizes that there are large, larger, and extra large, and some of them will cost a bit of a premium. But past that, basic pledge levels are going to be 25 packs for $53, 50 packs for $90, you have 100 packs for $160, and 300 packs for $390. These are 55 sleeves per pack. Do not back these thinking that they are 100 or 110 sleeves per pack. They are 55 sleeves per pack. They're the Paladin 90 microns thick. You can check them out. You can check out the variety of pledge levels, get whatever you want. I don't tend to use this particular brand myself, but they've been around for a long time and they are well liked in general. So that's Paladin sleeves from Board and Dice over on Kickstarter. From there, we're going to have our second Board Game Adjacent, which is going to be the Nilo War Table, a board gaming table. $60,000 raised with only 42 backers, but that's the way game tables work. And this does seem to be a fairly affordable game table with a very fascinating lifting mechanism to adjust the height of the table. This is not going to be like a Wormwood where you crank the table and you have an actual physical crank, but it's also not going to cost you $15,000, so there is that. Rather, there's going to be a little bit of a mechanism where you can kind of reach under the table and lower a clasp. There might be a way to show this over here on the page. Let's go see if we can find this here. There's a little clasp underneath the table. I don't know if it'll show it here. Let's see, let's find it. Nope, I'm not seeing it. You might have to watch a video to watch it. But basically, there's a little kind of you can kind of reach underneath the table over here, just kind of reach under, unhook something, lower it, hook it in, next one, lower, hook, and you can do that for all of the edges over there, giving you an opportunity to raise or adjust the depth, seemingly with a game being played in it, all for a fairly affordable price. Price points on the table are going to start over here at $1,200, $1,300 for the table, and then moving up for $1,500, $2,000 or $2,200. You can look at the various pledges to see exactly what you're getting, what's giving you a topper, what's giving you various accessories, all those things. But you can see over here, the table kind of lowering and raising a bit. Again, there's an inwards crank underneath the table, not a crank, there's a little pull-out blocking mechanism. Looks very well done as far as giving you a board game table in the few $1,000 price range that has an adjustable vault, which is very cool, assuming, it's a very cool concept over there. He has done one other board game table. You can check out the comments on the last Kickstarter campaign, the last crowdfunding campaign. You can check it out. They did one other table, which generally seems to have been well received. There are a few comments worth paying attention to. Some people who aren't thrilled with some aspects, stains not matching, pieces missing. Overall, seems to be you've done well, but just factor that in. If you're spending a few $1,000s on a piece of furniture, you want to walk in well informed. So check a look at that. That's going to be the Nilo War Table, a board gaming table. 41 backers, $57,000, 13 days to go. With that, we're going to move into a whole bunch of campaigns. We have 2 roll and writes today. We have a roll and writes roll and writes, print and play roll and writes, and we have a bunch of other campaigns to go through. We have the robot roll and write game. Tracking circuits, assembling components. This is going to be a few different options here. We have $4 over here. We have €3 for the roll and write game. This early bird over here is out, so you can't get that. But it's going to be €3 for the roll and write game, and a bunch of other games you can get here, all costing you €3 for whatever additional add-ons you want. All for those print and play. Not all. I mean, they're all print and plays. I don't know if they're all roll and write. But this is going to be a roll and write. We are going to be rolling dice to assign which of these game cards are active each round while you try to complete circuits. There's going to be 3 different maps to it, so you're going to choose a side, you're going to activate the thing in the dice, build your robot circuits, connecting components and joints, turn on your robot, and check if everything works over here. That's going to be the roll and write game over there, and then we're going to have 3 different, colored maps. This is a typical thing when you have these print and play roll and writes, where they give you different gradients as far as the options on the table for, the least ink possible, grayscale, or full-on color, to be able to give you those different printing options. And you can also use, I don't know if this one has it, but you can often use, there's a bunch of apps you can use to store your roll and writes on, and then run them that way, and, use Google D6 or whatnot. This is going to be giving you, they have a bunch of stretch goals for additional maps that they've been unlocking, and then they have add-ons for different games. So, they have the Be Good, the Zombie Snack. I'm not going to really go into all of these, but they have a bunch of add-ons for a variety of print and play games you can take a look at if you're interested in those. General notes on these, I never really talk about holding their value on these. They're usually $4 games. Buy them if you want them. Buy them to support the creator. You can't really sell them. There's no holding the value on these kinds of things. Moving on to Tank Clash, Western Front. 185 backers, $8,000 raised. And again, these numbers, we're going to see a lot of these numbers today. There's just not a ton of campaigns that are doing particularly well. I think we have Sol and Riftlands as far as the campaigns that are doing better, and everything else is kind of, there and present. Like I said already, it's a lighter week. Good on you. Save money on your I can't think of words. Save your money this week and prep your wallet for future months in late January, February, whenever. 184 backers, 67 hours to go, $7,800 raised on Tank Clash Western Front. This is coming to you from Amoeba Games. They've done a few other games, and this is going to be a lighter skirmish game with, well, tanks. Lots of tanks, cartoon artwork. There's going to be drawing cards and giving you morale cards over here. These cards are going to be cards that will help you attacking and defending as far as those. As you run this little skirmish game, and your tanks are all going to have this armor that's slowly depleting in the game. It's basically a skirmish game, modular terrain, missions, all that, checkpoints, all that stuff going on in the game, with future plans for more content for the game as far as, more tanks, more things. And also they say they have 2 things you can get your hands on. There's going to be STL files to print out your own miniatures if you want them. Let's see if we could find them down the page over here. And then additionally, somewhere on the page, we'll see them, add-ons, STL files for these cool looking, these look cool from the STL file over here. But additionally, they say that in the backer kit option, the backer kit pledge manager, they'll also be offering these as printable options you can purchase if you're not a 3D printing person. So there is that option, or seemingly that option, on the table as well. Pledge levels are going to run you, where are we over here? $40 or €30 for the base loader game, 52 for the gunner, and then that is 59 for the diehard over here, and then 221 for the full-on tank shop, which is, this is for a reseller. That's what it was. Yep, that's as far as the game over here. As far as holding its value, will it hold its value or not? For the most part, this is going to be true for a lot of things today. Very little that we cover today is going to be safe as far as holding its value. Really, we're looking at Sol and Riftlands, and maybe one thing at the end there. We'll talk about it. For the most part, most of the stuff we're covering today, I'll just save you some time now, is going to have a very low degree of just general demand, and it's going to translate into a lack of these things holding their value in the secondhand market. Your options, on the other hand, the flip side of that is many of these things are so few backers that your opportunities to get your hands in it otherwise are limited, which means most of what we covered today on this crowdfunding roundup, on this 2-back or not to back, will fall in the camp of, if you really want it, Kickstarter might be your best chance to get your hands in it, but it's not going to hold its value for most of what we covered today. Moving on, we have Gin Crafting over here. Gin Crafter is a board game from Jew Game Studio over here. This has become the best gin crafters in this 2 to 4 player board game about distilling craft gin. In the game, you're basically going to be gathering cards, which are the recipes. You're going to be gathering ingredients and possibly depleting the market of ingredients. There's that aspect as well, where you can deplete things in the market, forcing players to have to get them from you and paying your fee for them. You're going to be gathering these ingredients, trying to craft things, have your little side hustle over there as far as, little side jobs or side gigs you can get money for and whatnot. It looks almost Splendor adjacent in terms of the genre it's going for. It seems to be about building up your engine and then trying to cash expansion before the other players and get to the end before the other players. Art looks fairly, you know, art looks fairly decent. Overall presentation looks fairly decent. Gameplay looks to be on the lighter side, not necessarily a bad thing. Splendor is on the lighter side and has done tremendously well. But that seems to be Gen Crafters over here. And then there's the Spirits expansion as well. And that is basically what we have there. For $37, you can get the standard plan. And for $53, you'll get the base game along with the Spirits expansion. Same kind of general situation over here. With 421 backers, this one is doing better than the last campaign. But still, this is not going to have a huge amount of availability. Same story I just said. It's likely not going to hold this value for what you pay for it, especially once you factor in the price of shipping as well. This is a big one where you want to point it over here. This is the price of shipping on this table. You want to pay attention to that very heavily. It nearly doubles the game depending on the pledge level you're looking at. That's a big deal over here. Factor that in. It's like, you know, great. You're looking at $53 for the game, but then you're looking at additional $39 just for shipping if you're in the US. You definitely want to factor that in because that's nearly doubling the price. So take that into account. Again, less likely to hold this value because of stuff like that. Moving on, we have Gold, if this will load, Goldblivion. Goldblivion, which is following up on, I can't remember, Goldblivion and Dragonblivion or something like that. They've done a few games so far, Goldblivion games. They have, I need to find it. They have Goldblivion and Dinoblivion. Dinoblivion, that's what it was, not the other one. So Dinoblivion and Goldblivion is going to be a deck building game with lots of deck building and deck weeding going on in the game. Those concepts appeal to me very much. You're going to be building up two different decks. One deck's going to be weeding out a card every single round that will go towards contributing resources. The other deck is going to be a battle deck, which will improve your deck over the game, but also, whenever you lose a combat, you'll be weeding a card. So you either lose the combat and weed your deck, or you win the combat and get all the good stuff. So it's basically double deck building in this game. Seems compelling, seems interesting. Generally building up your tableau, your engine, all that in a game that's a competitive card game which 1 to 4 players race to gain 10 gold bars. Overall, sounds good. The art is not doing it for me on a personal level. I can't get pulled in by this. It's just not doing it for me. The gameplay itself does actually sound like my jam. Just the art, totally 100% not my style. But again, a personal choice. With nearly 800 backers, this is one of the better campaigns so far today. $48,000 raised, 58 hours to go, so ending fairly shortly. Did I order these by... Yeah, I did order these by hours to go, I think, for the most part, or almost. I ordered them by days, not always hours. But yeah, $30 for the Goldblivion, which is fairly cheap, it's fairly affordable as far as the game goes. Then we have $30 for Goldblivion if you want the original Goldblivion, and then we have $59 for DOUC. Get both games for them, if you want both those games there, and then $120 Canadian, or $88 is all in, will give you everything. Despite the low price point, even once you factor in, despite the low price point, once you factor in shipping, this still falls in the category of one that might be your cheapest opportunity to get your hands in the game, or your easiest opportunity, but it's one that's still less likely to hold its value. It is cheap enough, this one might break even if you get lucky in it, but again, not a particularly amazing back, one that best case scenario you might not lose that much on. That's going to be Goldblivion. Then we have Axon Protocal. 350 backers, $23,000 raised. Axon Protocol is going to have 3 days to go, 2 to 6 players in this shared worker placement game. Basically, you're going to have a bunch of workers here. I believe 35 workers they're currently up to with what they've unlocked. And those 35 workers can be used every single round. You're going to be using those in one of 2 ways, but it's a shared pool. So everyone has access to the same pool of different abilities, different characters, and all of that. And you're going to be placing your workers out on the board, again, from a public pool, access to everyone. So that gives an interesting aspect where it's kind of double worker placement. You're fighting for the spot, but you're also fighting for the worker itself as you go through the game. I like powers and abilities, so it could be something that works for me. Don't know entirely, but that's basically the core gameplay over here in this cyberpunk themed, futuristic accomplishing missions and goals mission over here. As far as the pledges, we have $58 for the Citizen Pledge, and then $74 for the Corporation Pledge, which is a deluxe game with acrylic standees and some extra components over there, extra quality upgrades over there. That's going to be $58 or $74 for the game, and then you can get into the game as an art for like $300. Same basic idea over here. Price point is not cheap, especially for the deluxe, and then once you factor in shipping as well, for a game that has 347 backers, same basic idea. It's one that is, if you want to guarantee it, this is your best opportunity to go ahead and guarantee it, but it's one that's expensive enough and not enough demand that's less likely to hold this value. Moving on to DOUC in Danger, I don't know how to pronounce that over there, DOUC in Danger. This is a literal game of monkeys, a certain species of monkey that is actually literally in danger. There's I don't even know if it's thousands or hundreds of these left in the world. They're not a lot left. They're critically endangered over here. 327 backers, $20,000 raised so far in this game. That's basically a trick-taking game with 6 levels to it. It gives you 6 different levels, 1 to 3 in the base game, then I believe it's 1 to 4th one of the expansions, and then 1 to 6 for the all-in, as far as the way the trick-taking game kind of levels up with the players, giving you a degree of proceduralness. If you've played games like Niram or anything in the Oniverse from Shady Torby, then you know that this style of game where you can kind of get a simple base game and then add modules one at a time to level up and expand the game. That's what this trick-taking game is doing, as you pick your character and try to vie for tricks over saving these DOUCs, these monkeys over here. That's the basic idea of the game. Modular complexity with additional danger levels. Have fun and spread awareness for saving real monkeys. So it's both spreading awareness. There may have been a thing about profits going towards something. I'm not entirely sure, and I don't want to say that unless I'm certain about that. There may have been a thing about profits in the game going towards this, but I'm not confident of that. Base pledge over here is going to be tourist for $23 for the 1 to 3 level dangers, $37 for the danger levels 1 to 4, giving you that little expansion, the day and night expansion, and all the stretch goals. And then over here, 1 to 6 is going to be danger level, the whole DOUC in danger, $67 for just absolutely everything as far as, you know, invaders, loner, jungle boy, day and night, 36 tokens, tree of life, community events, and all of that. And I don't think that's done, because I think in addition to that, you can also get your hands on another game, if we can scroll down. And by the way, all of these cards are uniquely illustrated. That's one thing worth pointing out. Every single card over here is completely unique. Lots of very cutesy art, so they got completely nailed it on the art front. Just very cutesy, appealing, and unique. This kind of game, the cutesy and appealing are often very easy. The unique part is very often where things just tend to let them slide. Is this Tom Vassell? That looks like it's meant to be Tom Vassell. I'm not sure, but that sure seems like it's meant to be Tom Vassell. Either way, scrolling down over here, if we keep going through that, we have the Jungle Game Board, we have all of this, and there was another game. Here we go. DOUC Kids over here. This is a memory game, giving you the same basic genre, or not genre, same basic universe, but with same basic artwork, but a memory game instead, if you're interested in that, combined with any pledge level, with no additional shipping costs as far as that. And Board Game Coffee has content both in the game and on the memory game, all of that in case you want to take a look over there. That is basically DOUC in Danger. Same basic story as everything else, a bunch of stretch goals, unlocks, all of that stuff. Same basic story as everything else we covered, which is, at the end of the day, this very appealing artwork. Looks like it could be a good trick-taking game. The price point on it comparable to what you're getting over here, this is one that is less likely to hold its value. Looks very cute, and if you want a good cause of spreading awareness and all that, that's an extra reason to go ahead and back this one. As far as availability, again, with only, how many people do we have so far? We have 327 backers. Means it's not going to have the widest availability, so if you want to lock in, if you want to support a good cause, those are all great reasons to get it now. As far as holding its value, less likely to do so. Which brings us to Soul Last Days of a Star, which is the first one that likely will hold its value today. 1,500 backers, $143,000 raised. This is both for an insert designed by Matt Healy for Soul Last Days of a Star, as well as a reprint of the game. Soul Last Days of a Star came out, I want to say 3 years ago, and in general, this one, currently the price point on this is going to be $25 for the wooden insert, $65 for the mothership, and $85 for the insert and mothership and all that. Basically, the reprint and the game. The original game currently is going for like anywhere between $80 to $150 on Board Game Geek on the secondhand marketplace. The original is doing just fine as far as holding its value. You can basically get this new game available for less than the price of the cheapest available copies, possibly even with the insert. Depends on shipping and all your options there. But again, this is generally a well-liked game, a 7.5 on Board Game Geek that is just hard to get your hands on, and so overall this one will likely hold its value as far as this one goes. As far as the game itself, the star is burning up and you're trying to make your way to the outer ends of the galaxy, and you're trying to harness the remaining energy of the star to be able to give your people the energy they need to escape. And it's a bit of a collaborative game in the sense that as you build things, you're going to be helping other players. They're going to be able to take advantage of the stuff that you build, but you'll get rewards for doing so. It's kind of a shared tableau building in the game. It's an interesting mechanism. It's something I've seen slightly done with wormholes from AEG, and I said at the time that I like the concept, but I want to see it done in a larger game. This obviously came before Wormholes, but I have to actually play this one as well. That's going to be Soul, The Last Days of a Star. Overall, like I said, oh, and then here's the insert from Matt Healy. This can be either bought as an add-on or bought as a part of the pledge over here. Matt Healy does a bunch of other inserts as well, in case you're interested in any of the other stuff he's done. But yeah, that is Soul, The Last Days of a Star, available for anywhere between $25 for just the insert to $85 for the all-in over there on this game, plus, of course, shipping in this reprint of a fairly well-liked, hard-to-get-your-hands-on game. And this one, like I said already, likely will hold its value just based on the availability and the demand that we currently have. Then we have Riftlands and Guild Academies of Valeria. This one, 767 backers, $60,000 raised. This is a grouping of games that are all from Daily Magic Games and from Stan Kodonsky. The reason for that is because we have Guild Academies of Valeria, which is the second thing that Stan Kodonsky has done together with Daily Magic Games. But then also we have Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria. We have the first expansion, Riftlands, or first expansion was Rise of Titans, I think, and then the new expansion, Riftlands. I think I did that right. We have the first expansion, Rise of Titans, and then the new expansion, Riftlands, are available over here. So just a reprint, and then a reprint of a game, a reprint of an expansion, a new expansion, and a new base game, all within the Daily Magic universe, all from Stan Kudensky, available on Kickstarter from Daily Magic Games. A lot of stuff to cover over there. Daily Magic Games, not Daily Magic, Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria, which is this grouping of games and expansions over here, is a dice placement game designed by Stan Kudensky, and Guild Academies of Valeria has a whole lot of stuff going on in it that I don't feel adequately prepped to cover, but a bunch of mechanisms that all interweave, and if I know anything about Stan, they all interweave beautifully. I haven't played the game, I just have played Stan's games, and they always seem to do an amazing job over here. You can check out the video for a little more information about how this plays. I couldn't find in-depth solid information. I saw enough to be able to like say a bunch of buzzwords, but not talk about it competently, so I'm not going to try to talk about it competently. But like every turn, you're going to place a student at a DOUC, draft a student die, perform the DOUC action. I can read it from the page. I can't talk about it competently. But that's basically what we have over here as far as these games. So again, a full new game, as well as an expansion, as well as reprint content. In general, like most Daily Magic games, you're going to get a bunch of promo options over here. If you get it on the Kickstarter, it's usually one of the incentives to get on the Kickstarter is getting it first, and the various promo content you get in the game. Over here we have the pledge levels are going to be the $19 for the Rise of Titans expansion. That's the reprint of the original. We have $29 for Riftlands. We have $48 for expansions only, Rise of Titans and Riftlands. We have $49 for Guild Academies of Valeria. We have $49 for Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria, and we have $79 for just the new stuff for the game, $89 for everything there, and $139 for all in for Stan Kudensky. That's what we have over there as far as the options on the table. In general, as far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? For the most part, Daily Magic games are pretty predictable. For the most part, they usually have a few extras you get in the Kickstarter that give you a bit of an additional incentive to get the Kickstarter, but then past that, they do okay as far as holding the value without doing particularly amazing. You can safely skip on it, or you can safely back it, depending on if you... The general recommendation I give is similar to board game tables. If you're the category of person who wants their games no matter what, go ahead and get it on Kickstarter. If you're the category of person that picks and chooses, you might as well wait and see how they hold up. It's a bit harder for me to say that this time because Stan Kudensky does amazing design work in general, but just in case, you know, if you're uncertain, you're not missing out on that much by waiting around for it. And that is Riftlands, which brings us to One Earth over on GameFound. One Earth, the climate change board game. 9,000 backers, $9,000 raised, 141 backers. This is the second edition of One Earth, which is a climate change focused game, which you can be choosing a character, having their specific role and whatnot in the game, and then trying to play through the game over here. Let's see if we can find through this. The how to plays are kind of hidden behind videos over here. In the race for prosperity points, you can build mega projects, fund technologies, implement climate policies, and engage in diplomacy. They have a few coverage from the shelf side, from a few other content creators, a playthrough over on Dice Tower. You can check out all of that, but the pledge levels are going to be $35 for the game over here. Let's no, not submit pledge. Continue browsing. Pledge levels are going to be, here we go, rewards. Pledge levels are going to be $35 over there, $30 for the early bird, but looks like that's done already. And then we have teaching supplements or multiple copies for the game if you want that, or becoming a leader in the game fully if you're interested in that, which looks like it's pledged 4 times for that. So they have an audience over there as far as getting that up there. And that is basically what we have over here, One Earth, a climate change board game. And then from there we have 2 more. We have Find the Source, Investigate, Fight, and Hack to Find the Source and Save Humanity, a roll and write cooperative cyberpunk adventure for 1 to 3 players. This is a very much a Matrix themed roll and write. They don't like just... It doesn't just look that way. They say that straight up. This is a Matrix-themed roll and write, and you will be rolling dice every round and then taking the red pill or the blue pill. It's very clever the way they do that. The higher die or the lower die, and then assigning it either using the higher dice for actions but burning 3 energy, or using the lower dice, which will give you some sort of upgrade in the game, but will take away from your what you can actually get done in that round. And you'll be going through the game trying to hunt agents, run around from location to location, gather your various hacking for the various items you need, re-rolling dice, a bunch of trying to figure out which actions you can take. Overall, the art looks great, and like the previous roll and write we mentioned, the print and play roll and write, you'll have different tiers as far as a lo-fi, a low-colored, low-ink, and colored, low-colored, and low-ink, as far as all the ways you can get each of these 3 maps in the game. A few ways to play, including campaign mode, where you can go through iteratively all of those. And for those of you who only want a box set, they do have a Kickstarter exclusive red pill pledge over here to get the game with an actually printed box set with roll and write dry erase markers over here for $39. This is much more compelling to me because that's kind of the genre that I want. Again, all these print and play roll and writes, they always look incredible. but if I'm not going to play it, if I'm not going to print it out, if I'm not going to deal with it, then it's hard to justify. But that's what we have over here. There'll be shipping costs in this as well. You have to factor that in over here. Shipping costs are going to be, over here. You got to factor that in. It's not going to be cheap to get your hands on that. But that's what we have as far as find the source from them. As far as holding its value, will it hold the value? Well, it's not. For the print and play, for sure not. And then even for the printed option, just based on the price point for what you're getting over there, the price point of the game plus shipping, I'm skeptical it'll hold its value unless it's like the best roll and write, print and play roll and write ever, which could be, but it just that's a lot to ask for if you're spending that much between shipping and the game on find the source. And then lastly, we break tradition a bit with something that's neither Kickstarter, back kit, nor game found. We are going to go ahead with, I guess technically it's back kit, but it's a hosted pre-order. This is not a crowdfunding campaign. This is a hosted pre-order on back kit. So they're kind of running they're kind of skipping, this is CMON basically. CMON's doing a hosted pre-order for CMON Comics Volume 2. Rather than running a campaign around this, they're simply saying, hey, here's the pledge manager. Let's skip the whole thing, jump straight to the pledge manager, hosted pre-order over on BackKit. And it's going to be giving you basically 8 different comics. The last time CMON did this, they ran, CMON Comics Volume 1. I believe they had 5 comics by the time all was said and done. Maybe it was 6. They had 3 in the core, and then I think it was 5 comics. I could be wrong with that. And each of them giving you some form of extras for the game itself. Meaning this is not purely a campaign for comics. This is a campaign for comics plus the extras associated with the comics in case you're interested in those. This is going to be Volume 2, and they're continuing with more Cthulhu Death May Die content, more Zombicide 2nd Edition content. They have Zombicide Invader again, so all 3 of these they had last time. Then they have Zombicide Black Plague, which they did not have last time, and then they have Hate, which they did not have last time, and they have Dust, Android, and Twilight Imperium from the Fantasy Flight universes, all being merged over, and they're giving you all of these. Will have additional content in the forms of miniatures and other stuff being thrown into your game. So if you want these extra exclusive, the pre-order exclusive over here, the graphic novel, for instance, I'm definitely all in on this Cthulhu Death May Die Touch of Providence. Although shipping is expensive, it's worth noting that shipping for these are expensive. If you're getting one of them, the shipping can be doubling the price. So that $30 Cthulhu Death May Die might be running you $60, which is just a lot more to ask. Find your friends, group up, do what you need to do over there. But over here, this Cthulhu Death May Die, for example, will be giving you 6 investigators, an enemy figure, which requires Season 4, which isn't out yet. We have Lost Episode 8 and Lost Episode 9, so you're getting 2 episodes and a bunch of content for the game, which is easily worth the $30 you're getting over there if you like that genre. Although Black Plague, which I usually have everything for, I'm debating whether I really need more stuff for Black Plague. I have so much Black Plague content, it's just ridiculous at this point. But either way, that's basically what we have over here. 8 different comic books, as well as the additional content for them. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? In general, yes. All of these likely are going to hold their value just fine. In addition to the fact that you're getting a comic book, which may or may not be worth it to it, at the end of the day, these things will be going for 2 or 3 times the price in the secondhand market after the fact. This is the best time to get your hands on it. If you want any of these, yes, it's expensive. It will. If you want a single one of these, it'll cost you like $60 almost to get it. If you want a bunch of them, they are all in pledges. If you want to get like the anthology bundle for CMON or the Fantasy Flight bundle, so there are ways to group up and bundle if you want any of that. But at the end of the day, the stuff is expensive, but it will hold its value. This is the cheapest opportunity to get your hands on it if you want the content, aside from going to eBay and paying, twice the price to get what you want down the road. So yes, it'll hold its value just fine. And that is everything we have today as far as that. Yeah, as far as Picks of the Week. Picks of the Week. So let's move on over to Picks of the Week. For Picks of the Week, I generally pick a game that is the one that is most appealing, most interesting to me. And then I also pick the game that is most likely to hold its value. And to that end, as far as the one that is the most interesting on a personal level, we have Riftlands. So Riftlands and Guild Academies of Valeria. In general, Stan Kodonsky and Daily Magic games are both company and designer that I like, and the pairing of them definitely has me interested, specifically in Guild Academies of Valeria. So the game that I am most interested in this week is going to be Guild Academies of Valeria, and then the game that is most likely going to hold its value, I'm going to go with the CMON one I just mentioned. CMON over here, this is easily one that is going to most likely hold its value as far as whatever you pay for it. This is the best opportunity to get your hands on it if you in any way want it. That does not mean you need it. If you've backed Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4 of Cthulhu Death May Die, do you need to pay an additional $55 to get your hands on an extra 6 figures and 2 episodes? No, but it is going to be the cheapest price point. So whether or not you need it is a different story. You definitely don't need it. Whether or not you want it or feel it's worth it is a different story, but it definitely is the most likely to hold its value. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. A shorter video today. Again, not a lot of stuff to go through, so it is what it is, and we'll see you again. It's going to be a I mean, I'll be here every day with my videos as usual, and they'll be here on Mondays as usual with either Kickstarter content, maybe top 10 end of the year list. I don't know exactly what. We'll figure it all out, but there will be videos every single Monday. Rest assured on that. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and call it a wraps. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one. So the doctor says, I have good news and I have bad news. The patient's like, give me the good news first. Doctor says, your test results are back and you have 2 days to live. The patient's like, that's the good news? What's the bad news? The doctor's like, well, I've been trying to reach you for 2 days.